I did an online poll which I linked to my Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. It was just one question, which was, does natural selection only work in favor of those who are the strongest and or biggest?
The poll that I ran had an 82% of the people that voted say yes and 18% say no. There was a total of 167 people that voted.
Because I wanted to have one-on-one interaction for my project, I did ask a couple friends if they would be willing to send me their thoughts on the topic of natural selection, and then I would then go on to explain to them what it was.
It is the survival of the fittest. Natural selection gets rid of the weaker links in the animal chain.
From what I remember in high school, natural selection has something to do with the survival of the fittest. The purpose of natural selection is to eliminate weak animals and leave the strongest. Every generation that continues will keep doing this, making them stronger and better adapted.
After looking at the results and talking to different people, I came to the conclusion that the biggest misconception that exists on natural selection is that it truly does only benefit the strongest animals out there. In other words, a lot of people associate survival of the fittest with natural selection, and I don't blame a lot of people because I personally had these misconceptions before I took this class. Natural selection is a process by which individuals with advantageous inherited characteristics for a particular environment survive and reproduce at a higher rate than do individuals with other less useful characteristics. After discussing about the misconceptions that exist in natural selection regarding survival of the fittest, the true reality is that natural selection actually works in favor of those that can reproduce the most, not necessarily always being the strongest, biggest, and fastest. An example listed in Berkeley's website demonstrated how natural selection works. In this example, it was given that there was two types of beetles, green and brown beetles, and there was a bird. The bird preferred to consume green beetles, therefore there was a smaller population of green beetles versus a large population of brown beetles. Now, in this case, there's not necessarily a bigger or a stronger animal. It's just the characteristics that these animals were given which put one of them at an advantage. Since there are less green beetles, they can reproduce at smaller rates than the brown beetles, which would continue growing in population as they keep reproducing more and more. In conclusion, natural selection does not work just in favor of the strongest and biggest organisms.